want to first of all recognize the protocol, Honorable Minister for Finance, Planning, Economy, Energy and Cooperatives, Honorable V. Nazim Burke, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Mrs. Eunice Sandy David, Mr. Michael Church, who today sits as the Vice President at the Bureau for the Meeting of the Parties of the Montreal Protocol, Dr. Nigel Graves-Sandy, Registrar at TAMCC, Mr. Lincoln Morgan, the CEO of the National Training Agency, other specially invited guests, staff at the Energy Division, staff at TAMCC who are here, parents, and most of all, you scholarship awardees today, the media, good afternoon. First of all, I would like to say that today's exercise is a continuation of an exercise that started in 2010, an initiative of the National Ozone Unit as part of Grenada's hydrochlorofluorocarbons phase-out management plan. And this plan is a plan that, because Grenada is a party to the Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer, we are required under that protocol to phase out the production and consumption of all ozone-depleting substances. In Grenada, we do not produce any of these substances, but we do consume a lot of them. And the only sector in Grenada that consumes these substances is the refrigeration and the air-conditioning sector. So already you can establish a linkage between what we have to do and new, young, and aspiring refrigeration and air-conditioning technicians. So in 2010, the National Ozone Unit within the Energy Division of the Ministry of Finance decided to award 2 scholarships for students to pursue this program at TAMCC. We met with TAMCC to roll out this plan, and TAMCC said to us, can you give 3 scholarships instead of 2? And we said, we will look at the budget because we want to do this thing for 5 years, and we will get back to you and let you know if we can do 3 instead of 2. TAMCC then got back to us and said, Mr. Smith, we only have 4 persons registered for the program, therefore we cannot have this program this year. That was in 2010. We looked at the budget again and we said to TAMCC, okay, if that is the case, we recognize the importance of this particular program and we want our young technicians to be trained in good refrigeration practices. We cannot allow this program not to happen. So we did just like the Minister of Finance. We went and we looked for some funds somewhere, and we did got some. And we were able to award 10 scholarships last year to ensure that there was a program at TAMCC. And so 10 students benefited from that program last year. Unfortunately, 1 student dropped out along the way for personal reasons, and another student did not meet the pass requirement to go into the 2nd year of the program. But we made a commitment to TAMCC that we will continue with this program. So this year in 2011, we again decided we are going to give 10 more scholarships. But because we had 1 person dropping out, 1 did not go on to the 2nd year, it opened up an opportunity for 2 more young persons to benefit from the program. And so this year, we are offering 12 scholarships to you students who are here to pursue the program at TAMCC. In addition to that, there was 1 other student who, when the scholarship committee met, decided that they would award a scholarship to that student, but the committee later learned that another agency was going to provide some financial assistance to that student. And so we still felt that we could have given something, so we are going to present that student with the toolkit as part of the scholarship program. Let me further add that today's scholarship award ceremony, the National Ozone Unit is partnering with the Grenada Refrigeration, Air-conditioning and Ventilating Association, which is the industry association. And whereas we are going to be providing the finance for the tuition and the books and the uniforms, etc., the Association of Technicians would be providing these students with toolkits, a tool bag, with some of the basic tools that they would need to do the program at TAMCC. Of course, they should have it so that when they finish and they go on to apply their trade, some of these basic tools can still be utilized. So we want to thank GRAVA, the Industry Association, for their input into the program as well. And of course, we want to recognize the effort and contribution of TAMCC, Ms. Benjamin and her team down there at the School of Applied Arts and Technology, Ms. Finley as well, for their enthusiasm and interest that they have shown and the way they have related with the National Ozone Unit to ensure the program continues. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I want to at this time just recognize the members of the scholarship committee who are here and who would have deliberated upon all of the 20-odd plus entries that we received this year to come up with 12 students who will be presented with these awards. So I want to first of all recognize Mr. John Telesford, who represents the National Training Agency. I want to also recognize Mr. Andrew Augustine, who represents the Ministry of Education. I want to also recognize Mrs. Pamela Benjamin, who represents the T.A. Show Community College. And I also want to recognize Mrs. Thompson, who this year sat with the committee, who is the chair of the School of Applied Arts and Technology at TAMCC. Together with myself, we sat together to go through all of those entries, those applicants we had, to come up with the final list of names. And let me say to you that amongst the criteria used for coming up with the names of students, we had to look at, first of all, the students meeting the TAMCC entry-level requirements based on the number of subject passes and English included. We also look at the households they came from, the number of persons in the households, the number of persons that were working in the households. We also look at the geographic representation, and I'm happy to say that we have somebody from Carriacou who will be awarded today. And we also look at gender equity, because we had female applicants also applying for the scholarship. And amongst all of these, together with the essays that they had to write, we were able to come up with these 12 students who will be presented today. Today's exercise, as I said earlier, is part of Grenada's hydrochlorofluorocarbons phase-out management plan. It is a plan that we launched in June of this year. Grenada was amongst the first of Latin America and the Caribbean countries to receive funding from the Multilateral Fund of the United Nations Environment Program for this particular phase-out. And we were also the first to launch this program. Whereas today, International Ozone Day, several countries are just launching the program, we are already into the implementation phase of this program. So in this regard, we are the leaders in the region as far as ozone-depleting substances phase-out is concerned. And only yesterday, I was in St. Lucia for the launch of the program and was also invited to St. Vincent to be there with them today. But unfortunately, I can't be there because I have to be here. I want to urge everybody, because today is International Ozone Day under the theme, HCFC Phase Out, a Unique Opportunity. What this means to us here in Grenada is an opportunity for us to select and introduce cutting-edge alternative technologies that would not only replace ozone-depleting substances, but would also achieve additional benefits such as climate benefits and energy efficiencies. In short, what we are doing is that we are going to remove equipment and refrigerants that contribute towards ozone layer depletion and replace them with technologies that are ozone-friendly, that bring benefits to the climate, and brings energy efficiency. And you may be aware that in commercial buildings, 60 to 70% of the energy consumption is in the air conditioning. And if we can change all of those air conditioning systems to energy efficient ones and also ozone-friendly ones, it means that these commercial buildings and institutions can realize significant savings that can be generated into other investment areas. And so you as young technicians, we hope that you would take the program at TAMCC very seriously. We hope that you would put to use the good refrigeration practices that you are going to be exposed to at TAMCC. The lecturers there have been trained. They are trainers in good refrigeration practices. And the National Ozone Unit supports the program at TAMCC because every year we donate state-of-the-art equipment that you will be able to use at TAMCC to be trained on so that when you leave, you will be familiar with these equipment. And today we are going to make additional contribution to TAMCC to ensure that the program runs smoothly and successfully. So ladies and gentlemen, having said that, I want to congratulate you, the students who would be awarded today, and to wish you well, and to wish everyone a very happy International Ozone Day. I thank you.
We'd like to thank Mr. Lester Smith for his very insightful remarks. We'll now have remarks by Dr. Nigel Graves-Andy, who is the registrar for TAMCC. Dr. Graves-Andy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished Minister of Finance, Honorable Michael Church, and other members of the head table, colleagues in the T.A. Marshall Community College, parents, students, friends. The T.A. Marshall Community College is particularly pleased to be associated with this activity. It is pleased because it is coming against a background where the college recognizes that it needs to play a critical role in facilitating the developmental priorities of the government of Grenada. And one such priority has to do with the expansion of range of technical and vocational education. It is in this context that the College Council and College Administration deems it absolutely critical to partner with agencies, both local and foreign, in expanding the range of technical education. Today's exercise reflects the culmination of that vision. 5 years ago, we could only find a maximum of 4 students to do the air conditioning and refrigeration program. At the commencement of the 2011-2012 academic year, we have a student population of some 21 students doing this program. It is the largest student population among all of the community colleges in the Eastern Caribbean pursuing a program in air conditioning and refrigeration. And this was only possible as a result of the intervention of the National Ozone Unit of the Ministry of Finance. What has happened since this process started? Last academic year, which culminated in July of this year, the Crane Resort, one of the leading diamond hotels in Barbados, recognizing the paucity of these skills in Barbados, engaged the college, and we were able to have 10 of our students in this program journey to Barbados to have some practical internship in the air conditioning and refrigeration program, complementing the theoretical aspects that they would have learned at the college. In fact, they confirmed that they could not find such skills in Barbados. And for the academic year 2011-2012, they have signaled their intention of taking another 10 students to do their mandatory internship program in Barbados. This is the kind of interaction and engagement that is bringing benefit. And as the college sees its role as expanding the coverage in tertiary education that is expensive to deliver, we recognize that the government alone cannot provide the resources that are required in order to deliver these programs. And it is in this context that the college has taken a serious policy decision to partner with regional, international, and domestic entities in expanding this coverage. These efforts are bearing fruit, brothers and sisters. We have just concluded an arrangement with the Grenada Electricity Company Limited for the provision of a state-of-the-art technical block in Carriacou to provide technical education in Carriacou, so that the students in Carriacou will no longer have to journey to Grenada in order to have their technical training. That project is estimated to cost about $750,000 funded essentially by a major private sector player. And that is going to be starting this year, the last quarter of this year. We have also been partnering with a number of international organizations, USAID, for example, in the delivery of a number of competency-based programs aimed at addressing some of the skill gap that exists in our economy. We have partnered with the Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, the Basic Needs Trust Fund, BNTF, the Pan American Health Organization, NAWASA, Vina Bulling and Sons in Carriacou, the Grenada Taxi Association, the Grenada Board of Tourism, the GCNA, and the World Bank Grenada Skills for Inclusive Growth. At the end of the last academic year, as a result of these interventions, the college was able to earn approximately $1.1 million in its quest to expand our technical coverage. And we need to commend the hardworking staff, the council, and the vision of those in the School of Applied Arts and Technology for making this a reality. These efforts in the next couple of years will be intensified as we become lesser and lesser dependent on government to provide the resources in providing the skill base that is required for the accelerated development of our economy. To the students who are going to be the recipients of this award, do not take your education for granted. Work hard. Let excellence rather than mediocrity be the seminal focus of your tenure while preparing for this program. We are advised by the CARICOM Secretariat that by the year 2015, just 4 years from now, close to 20,415 air-conditioning and refrigeration skills would be required for the tourism sector in CARICOM alone, and we currently have less than 500. The opportunities abound, and within the context of free movement of skills in the Caribbean, opportunities await for you. And I therefore ask you to use the opportunity of the funding provided to you today to work hard and to ensure that the quality of your certification will be matched by the competence of your skill. In congratulating you, I urge that your parents play a facilitating role in ensuring that your journey throughout this program would be brimmed with academic success. And in closing, allow me to use a favorite expression once used by a favorite philosopher of mine, St. Augustine, in his classic work, City of God. And he said that education must be seen as the most important part for upward social, spiritual, and economic mobility. And he urged us, and I'm quoting him now, to use the motto of "Quo non ascendum," which when translated into English means, "To what heights may we not ascend?" I urge you to take St. Augustine's utterings very seriously. Thanks and God bless.
At this time, we'll have some remarks by Honorable Michael Church.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Nazim Book, Honorable Nazim Book, Reverend Eleanor Glasgow, a Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Human Resources, etc., etc. Mr. Leslie Smith, my dearly beloved friend. Of course, I related to the chairperson already. Mr. Morgan, I guess some of your friends would want to say welcome back. I also notice some very notable persons in the audience. My greetings to you. Students, parents and guardians, the press, and of course, the other workers and officers from the NOU. I wish to recognize you. After today's session, we would be able to boast, at least from the NOU and from the Montreal Protocol, that we have 22 ambassadors of the Montreal Protocol resident at our National College. And I'm very deliberate in referring to you as ambassadors, because I don't think it would be too much of you to ask of you that next year, when we are celebrating Ozone Day, you as persons, 22 of you, as persons who would have benefited and would continue benefiting through the NOU from the resources of the protocol, that it would be a very useful exercise for you to put on a small exhibition as part of those celebrations. Because in addition to being recipients of the scholarships, I believe that you have a responsibility to spread the gospel around. That we, that kind of an animal called man, we have a responsibility both to ourselves and the other human beings that will follow us in the future. And as I've always said, we have really no reason for protecting the ozone layer except that we want to protect ourselves, our livelihoods, and our future. Had it not been that, we would have had no interest in the ozone layer. So when we speak and we advise that we need to do things to protect that layer, in effect, we are advocating the very protection of ourselves, the human species. I listened to my brother Nigel, Dr. Gripsandi. That's how we must refer to him. Okay? Outline some of the initiatives that have been undertaken by the college, and they're very laudable. And even some of the observations he has shared with us with regards to what some of you may have the opportunity to do in Barbados next time around. And I want us to look at this for a moment. Now, you are here at the college to transform yourselves into human beings that would have the ability and capacity to make a beautiful life for yourself in the future, and maybe for your families too.